Welcome back to Otaku no Video. As always, thank you very much for joining me. There are lots of different kinds of fan. And the interesting thing about anime and manga are that they catch such a wide spectrum of different elements and different genres and so forth and so on that you can get into anime from lots of different angles. And the anime I'm going to talk about is really only going to appeal to a very narrow slice of that, I think. The anime is called Blam. Now, it's spelled blame, but it's supposed to be pronounced blam, apparently. And it is a short anime. It's a series of like 5-minute short episodes, and I think there's 6 of them. It's like a half-hour little OVA thing. It's based on a very popular manga of the same name. The problem is the anime, or the interesting thing is that the anime has a very low animation budget. And this is where this anime sets itself apart, because it uses that limited budget to explore how to evoke mood, how to convey information with as little animation budget as possible. If you're interested in the technical aspects of animation, of just this layering of imagery on top of each other and movement and so forth, Blam is fascinating for what it manages to achieve within its particular restrictions. Now, the original story is an action story. It's about a young man who's traveling through this, essentially a world city, populated mostly by these cyborgs and other artificial humanoids who are trying to wipe out humans. And the main character has this ridiculously powerful gun. So lots of fights between him and these very powerful humanoids. And it's a fairly normally structured story in terms of you come into him at a certain point and you follow him through stuff and you get revelations and so forth. But it's fairly linear. This is not. The anime takes that and approaches it from a very different angle. It's essentially a series of vignettes about this world. There is one action sequence, really. It's in the first episode. And the rest of it are just these other little bits and pieces about the world, about what the characters are going through, and so forth and so on. And the various elements are things, I mean, there's music, and the music is this wonderfully off-kilter, kind of discordant electronic music, which fits the world very well. But this isn't about the music. The voice acting fits perfectly. In fact, Sibo's voice actor sounded exactly like what I remembered from the manga. I read a couple of volumes of the original manga. But this isn't about the voice acting. This isn't really about the characters. This is about conveying as much information and mood as possible with this very distinctive limited animation style. Now, for those of you who don't know, limited animation is in contrast to, say, Disney-style full animation, where if a character is conversing with somebody else, the character is redrawn every frame, even when they're just talking. Whereas in limited animation, for example, if a character is just saying something, you'll redraw the mouth, maybe the chin, but you won't necessarily redraw the entire character over and over again. And limited animation lets you do interesting things with your art. It's not worse animation, it's a different way of doing things. And it allows you to rethink your relation to the image and how you're conveying information. And Blam does this. It does really remarkable, distinctive things with imagery. There's one vignette that is in basically one long dialogue scene as this creature is being created, essentially. And there's basically no animation. It's layers on top of each other, so you see a character, standing there, but it's like a silhouette from the back. So you hear that character talking. Cut to another character, and you hear that character talking, but you're not really seeing the character's mouth movement. Maybe a little bit here and there, but there's almost no movement. So it's seeing how these characters are in relation to each other, and what their expression is at this point or this point, and how the camera will pull back and then zoom in on characters. It's really interesting. But this isn't going to appeal to a lot of anime fans, and that's okay. I mean, this is a very different kind of thing We all like different stuff. That's cool. But for those of you who are interested in animation from that technical perspective of what animation can do, especially under these very limited restrictions, Blam is this fascinating case study. It's really interesting to watch. But like I said, I don't think lots of other people are going to latch on to Blam. Fortunately, Blam is available in a North American release. It's inexpensive, and it is fairly readily available on Right Stuff and Amazon.com and places like that. Although it's going away. It didn't sell too well, and there are only so many copies. That kind of problem. So if you want it, I would run out and grab it as soon as you can. And you'll certainly find something that is remarkable, something you can talk about and say, I saw this really weird thing. It's different. It's completely different, and we need different. Different is awesome. So if you've seen Blam and want to talk about it, or want to talk about anime and manga in general, please stop by otakunovideo.net or shoot me an email. And I'd love to talk about this or lots of other anime and manga with you. So until next time, I hope you may find more really interesting anime.